All right, you ready? Budweiser drinking man. My friends tell me drink beer struggles on the mission of life. They tell me how to get back, most just stays alright. I tell them that shit just ain't for me any day. You see, but why the taste just makes me wanna say, hey, get off my job, go to Dairy Farm, and I pick up a pie. Don't care how much they charge me, just as long as Bud bottles on the ride. I just finished eating dinner, I can't wait till the night falls. Pick up my buddies, go to 7-Eleven, pick a case of toast. Yeah, my parents don't, they don't seem to understand. That's why I'm a Budweiser drinking man. Whether be bottle, mini, tall, or can, see, I am a Budweiser drinking man.
Yeah, baby. Welcome to Beer on the Balcony. This is your favorite beer slugging host, Stuttering John. How are you? Scoot! Let me say hi to Roberta Knight with the badge, Martha Salinas. Great show today with Army Major Richard Ojeda. And now we're just going to talk comedy, sex, COVID, dating, and whatever else with my comedian friend, the very funny Alycia Cooper is here.
Hey, how are you, John?
How you doing, sweetheart?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Saturday. We're always happy on a Saturday.
Well, you know what's really good, Alicia, is that the comedy clubs are opening again. I don't know
Yes.
about you, but it must have. I mean, did it hurt your pocketbook like it did mine?
Woo! The first month, I got hit so hard, I just laid down in the bed. I slept for the whole first month. I was in denial at all the stuff I just had to work. I was supposed to go to the Tahoe Improv 2 days after they canceled everything. So had I been 1 week earlier, I would have got my money. But 2 days before I was supposed to get on the
Oh,
plane, I got wiped out, and it just went downhill from there.
I didn't know that Tahoe has an improv again because I used to
Yeah,
headline that one all the time, but then
yeah,
it closed down. Is it still at Harvey's?
yeah. It's still in Harvey's. I've been headlining that one for a couple years now. I started out featuring, so I've probably been going back and forth there for like 4 or 5 years before it got closed down. Yeah, and they had a guy Howie Nave who used
Yeah.
to do the radio portion. So yeah, it came back up, and it was rocking and rolling until COVID. I don't even know if it's back now.
Is Howie Nave? Is he still doing it?
No, he's
Oh,
not. Once Bud left, they had a whole new
oh,
situation.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me just say hi to some of the newcomers. Hello, Benny Loco. But anyway, this is my beer on the balcony. See it from noon to 2. I do a political show, so
Awesome.
it's 2 hours of tearing down the Donald Trump and his corrupted uh, administration and freaking kids and his all the ass hats in Congress like Ted Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these idiots. But
and Mitch McConnell, yeah.
Oh yeah, all these assholes. But this is my fun show. That's why when you asked, you know, what are you going to talk about? I mean, I've had everyone from Harry Basil, who books me all the time at the Laugh Factors. I've had Larry the Cable Guy on this show, and Rainn Wilson. I mean, this is my comedian show. Hal Sparks,
I love it.
So we work together where?
We worked together at the Reno It was Catch a Rising Star first, and then it turned into something else.
Was it the Laugh Factory? No,
I think it became the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, it was the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I was headlining. Were you featuring?
Yeah, I was featuring.
Now I wore one of your T-shirts. I can't remember what the hell it said there.
You wore my white shirt that said "The hole outlasts the pole."
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. That's right.
And you look good in it, by the way.
I promise you that I would wear it for a show, and I did.
And you did.
Although it was a female shirt.
Yeah, it had a V-neck, but you look sexy in it, though.
That was fun. How many years ago was that?
That probably was about maybe 8 years ago. It was a while.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I bumped into you like 4 years later at the BJ's in Woodland Hills.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Where do you live?
I live in Encino.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so,
I'm in Canoga Park, the spousal drop-off point. After you lose your house in Calabasas, you end up having to buy a condo in Canoga Park. I call it Little Mexico because it's a freaking I can't understand. First of all, there's about 8 billion Mexican places to eat. Like so many of these restaurants are Mexican, and yet every street corner has them cooking tamales on the street corners. And I'm Puerto Rican, I can say this, but it's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least you're in Canoga
Park. The only white guy here. I feel like I'm at the Alamo. I'm surrounded.
Well, at least you're in Canoga Park. It could have been Reseda.
Yeah, true. True. So, what have you been? So, have you gone on stage since the COVID thing was lifted?
Yeah. Luckily for me, I've really been blessed with, because once you hit a certain age, you are so tired of the bullshit. And what I said for myself was I'm so tired of the rejection, so tired of the no's that I'm going to do the things that people reach out to me for. So, because then I don't have to worry about being turned down. So about maybe 5 years ago, I get an email from the Comedy Store because I lived here first and I moved and I came back. And before I left, I was a regular. So I left and I came back and I said, you come back, you're at the end of the line again, no matter where you're coming back to. But I was so blessed. I opened my emails and they said to me, we're going to put your name on the wall.
Wow.
at the Comedy Store. And I'm like, my name on the wall. And I said, oh, okay. So they were like next month and so on. Your name's going up on the wall. And once your name goes on the wall, you get regular spots. So what happened for me was I really wasn't traveling or touring anymore. I had been tired of all of that, living out of a suitcase. So I just started doing the Comedy Store on the weekends, and we got a percentage of the door, the main room. So I was making what I was making to go away, being local. Wow. So I just stay here. I'm at the Comedy Store tonight at 8:00 in the main room. So they came back up about a month ago, and you send in your veils on Monday, and you get what you get. But that's pretty much where I've been working.
Is Adam still booking that place?
No, Adam left. He's in Austin booking Joe Rogan's club.
Oh, so who's in charge of putting the names on the wall now?
I don't know who's in charge of putting names on the wall, but I know that the main booker over there is now Emily.
All right, because I used to perform there all the time, and then they never put my name on the wall, and I would be like, Adam, I go, I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, seriously, that there are people on the wall I never even freaking heard of. John, everybody wants to be on the wall. I'm like, all right. I mean, I've done killer shows here. Okay. I mean, I think I'm not being conceited here, but I think a lot of comedy people, if you saw Stuttering John, they know who it
Yeah.
was. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
I've been in enough shit that you're gonna know.
Yeah.
But they don't. And I remember talking to Adam Hunter about it. You know, Adam?
Yeah, I know Adam well.
He's like, John, what do you care? Just, you're on the road and you're making money. Who gives a shit about being on the wall? But it is an honor, I guess, to be on the wall,
Yeah. Yeah. And there's still a lot of space left on the wall, so you will be on that wall.
I hope so one day. It always bothers me, Alycia, because like I could see if I did a show there and sucked, then okay. But if I do consistently shows and consistently get laughs, and they know that I'm, I can do an hour or whatever. I think at that point, I think you kind of should do it,
Yeah,
It's always been my little beef with the Comedy Store because every time I go there, I'm taking pictures with everybody, but I'm not on the wall.
Yeah. Why don't you come up there tonight? Like I said, I'll be there at 8:00 and we can hang out.
I gotta see because my kids are going to New York tomorrow, and I'm trying to hook up with my two youngest. Do you have any kids?
No, I don't. I don't have any kids. I have nieces.
All right, but because my daughter is 20, and look, I know that when I was in my 20s, I didn't really want to hang out with, I didn't want to hang out with my parents, but I still think I'm like the coolest dad in the world.
Yeah.
So like, for me, it's like, she's like, Dad, I don't know if I'm busy, I'm packing. I'm like, Lils, come on, I want to just say goodbye to you before you go to New York because you're gonna go away for 2 weeks. I just got back from New York, so
Yeah.
But, so I might be seeing them hopefully tonight.
Yeah, I tell people, I said when I got my car at 16, I don't think my parents saw me again. So it all becomes a blur.
I know it does. How are you handling this heat, by the way?
And being in the valley, it's brutal. It's brutal. But thank God for air conditioning. And I just stay in the house. You know what? We've been doing those Zoom shows for the year that COVID was going down. And at first I hated those Zoom shows so badly. But then I said, you got to make the best out of it. So I would write new bits and I keep them on the side of my computer. And I look down and I was like, you got to make the best of this and just try new material out in this horrific situation. So I'm used to being in the house in the air conditioner from all last year. And but it is brutal. It's brutal.
And how long have you been doing stand-up?
I started in October 2000. So this October will be 21 years.
Wow. That is, you know what? I started in around the same exact time. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
I know because it was right around the time that my daughter was born, and she was born in 2000. So that's that's great.
Yeah, so we started around the same time. Yeah, I actually started once before that, but I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't know people were writing jokes and cracking material. I thought they were just jumping on stage improvising. And I tried that and crashed and burned a couple times. I grew up in Maryland, so I tried it in Maryland.
Yeah.
Right after Def Jam hit big, because I thought everybody was just jumping on stage being funny. And I didn't realize they had an act and they had been doing it on the road for 5 years before we saw it. And but luckily for me, in the part of Maryland I was in, they didn't boo. It was just silence. so I had a lot of silence.
Which sometimes is even worse than booing.
Sometimes it's even worse. Because you like this. Nothing.
Well,
so my jokes were bad.
Because I used to do like jokes, because I had the band. I had my band first. So I got signed to Atlantic. So I was opening for like, Ozzy and Collective Soul and Motley Crue and all these bands across the country. But I would tell some jokes in between songs. But I had that security blanket of a guitar in front of me. And then to do stand-up, I always wanted to do it since I was 21. But I was afraid that I would stutter on every joke. Finally, I had an epiphany. I go, John, if you could ask celebrities about their bowel movements, then you could go on stage. And then I finally did. I did it at the New York Comedy Club with Al Martin. I don't know if you know Al.
Yeah.
And I call him one of my angels because I brought my wife and I went on stage. I stuttered through every joke. I was flop sweating, and I did my 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it was god awful. And I got off the stage so upset, and then I walked off, and then Al said to me, "I have another stage over there. Go in there and do the same thing." And didn't have time to think, so I went. I didn't stutter at all, and I got laughs. And I said, "Okay, I could do this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it took him to immediately tell me to go up again. You know?
Yeah. And like you said, it takes the laughs because the laughs are encouragement. You know, because yeah. Without the right encouragement, we will quit.
I know. Who was our opener that time that we worked?
I don't remember. He was a local. I remember being a Reno local.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who it was.
Yeah. It had to be like 8 years ago because I think I was still smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I think you were. I think you were.
I'll tell you why that I know because I would save my drink tickets, you know, because they give you those like not the drink tickets, the meal tickets, you know. So you get one for breakfast, lunch. I would save them and then just go out to a big steak dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a steak dinner, and then you know I was waiting for all you guys to go on. So I was drinking some beer and smoking, and the cigarettes got me nauseous. So I was going to the bathroom to puke. I didn't make it, so I puked into the garbage can. And then I guess some guy from the club was like, "John, you're going on soon," or it was somebody, and he goes, "Oh, I guess you chew tobacco too." He thought I was like spitting up tobacco, and of course yeah.
Yeah, that particular club had the worst cafeteria of all the casinos. Did you ever go down to that cafeteria?
No.
It was so awful. And then security had a nerve to follow you around like this was Caesars or the Bellagio.
Yeah. That happened to me at the Laugh Factory in Vegas. And you know, and it was like at the Trop, so they had their cafeteria.
Yeah.
And then a security guard is following me. So then when I get to the cafeteria, and you know, it's not the greatest food, and then he goes, "Do you have your pass?" I go, no, they didn't give me one. He goes, "Well, are you performing here?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, can I see your driver's license?" I go, "I left it up in my room." He goes, "Well, I can't let you eat here." I go, "Dude, I'm headlining." I go, I'm on the marquee out front." So I showed him a picture that I took of the marquee. I go, "Look, that's me." You know, like, you know, on the electric marquee.
Yeah.
And he let me eat, but then he told Harry Basil, and as soon as I got to do my set, Harry's like, "You really showed your picture on the marquee to get the food?" I go, "Yeah."
Yeah, they just wanted to bother you. Jackson, Purdue, and I, we worked, so it didn't matter where we were working in Vegas. We go over to the Trop and eat at their cafeteria anyway.
Why?
Jackson and I, we were just like, "Oh well, it's here." Jackson and I would go right. We'd be staying at somewhere else, and next thing you know, we at the Trop laughing and eating in their cafeteria.
What was your biggest nightmare show?
Biggest nightmare show. Well, I've had a few, but when my early days of comedy, I hadn't been doing comedy a good 2 years. And I was working at the Comedy Union. And, you know, when you're new, you're either going up first or you're going up last. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think I was like last. And by then it was like 2 a.m. And the audience had left. It was like 3 people left in the audience.
Where was this?
This was at the Comedy Union off La Brea.
Okay.
I think it's on Pico and La Brea or something. And I went up and it was like 3 people left. It was late. Everybody had gone home. When I got there, it was a nice, robust audience, but they were gone by the time I got the mic. Yeah. And so I just did my few jokes that I had being 2 years in the game. And when I was leaving, this brother and sister team walked up to me and said, "We really like what you did. You gave us a performance like it was a packed house, and we're doing a DVD taping, and we want you to be one of the comics on our DVD." And I said, "Oh, okay." Still only had like 4 minutes of material, but I said, "Okay." So I went to do this DVD tape. They were taping at some restaurant in Inglewood. They had no air conditioning. It was like 105 degrees that day. They would have these big industrial fans going. And when it was the next person's turn to go up, all the fans had to go off because, of course, they're recording. So now you're soaked because between the body heat and the real heat, it's 130 in there. So now I'm hot, I'm sweaty. My makeup artist has to keep redoing my makeup until I go on. It was just tough, especially somebody 2 years in the game. Yeah. So I'm like freaking out. My wet sweat under both arms. Nothing's good about this taping. So about maybe a month before this, I was talking to the comic Monique, who she went on to win an Oscar. And I was going to a show that she was having in Oakland. And I said to Monique, I said, "What advice would you give to a new comic?" She said, "Get half your money before you leave the house and the other half before you open your mouth." And then she was telling me about a time when she forgot her act and she ran off stage. And I'm sitting here thinking, what in the world could happen that could make you run off stage? Well, this DVD tape, it was so hot, I forgot my act and I ran off stage. And I think because she planted that seed in my head that you could actually do this, you could actually run off stage, I was gone. So they had to calm me down, get me back together, redo my makeup, put a fan right in my face, and I went back out a second time, and I got through it. But I actually got out there. It was so hot, forgot my act, and ran off stage. All I could do was laugh as I was running off stage.
Did the DVD ever come out?
It did come out. It was and that's another thing. It was a clean comedy DVD, of course, for the gospel crowd, like the Tyler Perry crowd. And it was called The Spirit of Comedy. So you also couldn't curse. So you got like 1,000 things going through your head. It's hot. The fans are off. You have 4 minutes of material. And next thing I know, I just ran off stage. I looking back on it, all I could do is laugh. Wow. But I did it, and it did come out. And they were selling it in Walmarts and everything. We never got another penny.
How much did you get to do it?
I think the first time I probably got like $300 or $400 up front, and they would tell us we were getting points on the back end. There obviously was no back end.
Yeah. No, I know. I think the worst show I had was at the Ha Ha Cafe, and I did a set, and nobody was laughing. And I do a lot of a lot of jokes about sex and everything. So finally, I didn't know what was going on, and I got off, and someone said, "John, do you know why you weren't getting laughs?" I go, "Why?" I go, "Nobody in the crowd speaks English. They're Catholic people from South America, and they're hearing a Catholic troupe, so even if they would have understood the jokes, they wouldn't have liked them because it was sex jokes. But it was hysterical. They didn't even speak English. What the fuck were they doing
there?" They almost messed up your esteem.
But it sucks because you do a joke and it's just like you said, it's like silence. And you're like, I don't get it. That's a pretty funny joke. Yeah. But they didn't even understand it because they didn't understand English.
Yeah. Whenever I got silence, I deserve the silence.
I know. That always is the worst. You almost have. It depends if I have enough beers on me. But if I don't have enough beers on me, and you try something new out, I think that we get apprehended. In our heads, it's in the back of our heads. This is new. I don't know if it's going to work. And then you have a little fear in a way, and it might show, and that might help the joke not work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'll never try to tell a joke that didn't make me laugh first. But I've seen comics sell jokes with just confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if it's sucking, just be confident about the sucky joke and it'll work.
Well, there are times I don't like to, criticize comics, but I watched a set of Joe Rogan's at the Comedy Cellar, and there wasn't actually like crafted jokes. It was just him talking about pussy. And you know, to me, to me it was crass, but that's me, you know. But he's so confident. I guess people still liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of people come to see him. You know, he's reached a certain level, and once you reach that level, they just want to look at you. I've seen reality stars that now do stand-up comedy, and they have no material, but the people came, they paid extra, this VIP fee that they pay to get a picture with this reality star later. The reality star had no jokes, and the people did not care. They just wanted to look at him.
It's amazing.
I'm like, can I please get to that level?
Oh, there are a lot of YouTubers now that do that. You know,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and they just get on stage and do nothing, but they get paid like thousands.
They get paid so much money. And then they try to put real comics in front of them that are getting pennies on the dollar for the same show.
I know. So what do you so what's your jokes about now? Are you doing a lot of COVID jokes?
I did when they first opened up, and during the Zoom pandemic era, I did a lot of COVID jokes. Now I'm doing more post-COVID jokes, and I'm doing current events. You know, like I talked about Jeffrey Tubin jerking off during a CNN work Zoom call. You know, I'll be talking about Cosby tonight. You know, I'll be talking about Sha'Carri Richardson tonight. So, you know, it just depends on what's happening now. Because I have some evergreen stuff that I can always do, but
that's the thing. Sha'Carri Richardson. Yeah. Okay, weed is not a performance enhancer.
That's a drug.
I mean, you know,
imagine how fast she could be off the shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's about, like, think of all the fast food she's eating.
Yeah,
you know,
all the fat, but think about all what she's had to give up to be an elite athlete. All the McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, KFC she's had to pass up. Let her hit this joint. You know,
but I just don't get the weed thing. You know, I don't get how that. I don't know. I think like. If you're gonna do that, then I guess they can't drink alcohol either, and then I guess they can't drink caffeine.
Right. They should take that off the list. The weed. I don't know why it's on the. Some people use weed because it helps them with their pain. You know, so I think that maybe what can happen after this is they can reconsider taking it off the list.
Yeah. No, it's freaking silly. What do you say about it?
Well, I'm going to say tonight, I'm going to talk about how, like we were just saying, it's not a performance-enhancing drug, and all the things she's given up to become an elite athlete. Let her hit that blunt. Yeah. You know, because I have not passed up any KFCs. I've not passed up any McDonald's. I've not passed up any Wendy's or Burger Kings. So I just feel like let the girl live. You know, let her live.
And what'd you think about the girl that held her back to the flag?
Well, she's actually a veteran. You know, I was researching her. She's a veteran. Her father was a veteran. And I don't care what anybody else does or how anybody else feels because I haven't lived their life. You know, so I feel like for me, I've had a lot of great breaks, great opportunities, a great upbringing, great benefits. And if the person beside me is saying they didn't have it like I had it, I can't say nothing about that, you know. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. Maybe her brother got beat down by the police and killed. Like, I don't know her background. But I feel like when people take a stance, they're not saying, I don't like my country. I hate my country. What they're saying is, I love my country so much, I want to see it live up to its ideals. Yep. And I want to see it live up to its ideals for everyone, not just a few. So I don't have a problem with athletes taking a stand and using their platforms because nobody's going to listen to Ted, the postal worker.
No. Yeah, you know what I feel? I feel about it because I was arguing with someone on Twitter and they were like, well, you know, what does that say to other countries? And I said, I'll tell you what it says to other countries. it says to them that our country's so great that we could allow someone to peacefully protest and not
Yeah.
get killed for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what the flag's all about to begin
Right.
with. It's
Right.
about freedom.
And I'm all for peaceful protest.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're going to complain when somebody's peaceful and complain when they're not peaceful, then you've nullified the situation. You know, because you've got to be able to protest in some form or fashion. It's the fabric of being an American. You know, so she's executing her American rights. And then let's not act like other countries don't get our news and other countries don't see what's going on in this country, just like we see what's going on in their countries.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Like,
Yeah.
I had friends, well, how dare he? How dare he? And I'd be like, look, he's trying to make a statement. Black people in this country, people of color, have been harassed, brutalized by white police officers at an alarming rate. And he's trying to call attention to that. And then, you know, that is not a bad thing, that he's trying to protest what's going on in this country right now.
Right.
And he lost his job. The NFL's pretty much banned him.
Yeah.
And, you know, now everyone's calling him like a pioneer because after George Floyd, they go, wow, he
was trying to tell you something that black people already knew.
About,
you know, we've already seen George Floyd's happen without a camera in the face. You know, to say, you know, this has been happening since the beginning of time. You know, police officers were initially slave catchers. You know, so the thing is just read a book, learn your history. You know, because all this stuff has happened before. Muhammad Ali was the most hated man. Now it's all we love Ali. We love Ali. Keep your love now, because you didn't always love him. Look at Dr. King. Dr. King was hated. Now it's all live like Dr. King. Be like, no, we remember what was said about Dr. King. His adult kids who are still alive, they remember. And so it's like, no, keep your love for Dr. King now. It's too late. And Colin Kaepernick is not doing anything new. You know, athletes have protested and protested and protested, and nothing has changed. It's actually gotten worse. To sit up there, what that man did, to sit there and knee this man in his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds while EMTs are screaming, while little children are screaming. What does that say? What does that say? That's what people should be more worried about. What is that saying to other countries about our country?
Mm-hmm. You know what the saddest thing to me is that on his final breaths, he's screaming for his mama, and that always like strikes a chord to me, you know, because you know, I mean, he was on his last breaths, and still this guy kept his knee to his neck. I mean,
when the EMTs showed up, he looked at him, saw that they were there, and still stayed on his neck. One EMT man had to bang him on his shoulder 3 times, like, dude, we're here. And then he slowly looked at that man and slowly got up. And I'm like, what is this about? What is this about? Like, it was so, and then his mother gets up there during the sentencing phase and tries to make him out to be some choir boy. He was such a good guy. He would call in to work on his days off. You sound crazy. Who in the hell calls into work like, y'all need me today on your day off, but a maniacal fool? None of us are calling a job on our day off. Let me go in and see who I can brutalize today. I haven't had enough brutality, so I'm going to call in. That didn't make him sound, it actually made him sound even worse. So, and the mother taking up for him, that didn't help at all. And he's lucky he got the sentence that he got. You know, he's lucky they didn't try him on first degree, because at the 6-minute mark, they told him that George Floyd no longer had a pulse. Should we turn him on his side? He said, no, he stays right here. So from 6 minutes to 9:29, it became first degree, in my opinion, because he had a choice to do something different.
Yeah, it is the most horrifying tape to watch, actually. I mean, and
then let me say this: it wouldn't have mattered the race of the person. Had that been a white man getting kneed in his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, I'd have been just as hot. Had that been a Puerto Rican, a Hispanic man, had there been a Jewish man, had there been a Middle Eastern man, I don't care what the man was, I would have been equally as outraged. Equally as outraged.
But the reason why that it outrages at least me more is because I think it was racially motivated. He don't like black people. And this was like a white supremacist taking, abusing his power.
Right. And he grew up in a part of Minnesota where there were few African Americans in his town. And I really don't think people who grew up with not out exposure to other people really should have agency over them and a gun and a badge and all that stuff, because they don't know the culture well enough to humanize another group. I think that you should have to have exposure to everybody in order to police everybody. If you grew up in an all-white town, you need to work at the all-white police force, because it's just going to be there's going to be some miscommunication and some abuses going on, because you haven't even had African American friends if you grew up in an all-white town. It's just a recipe for disaster.
I know, and I didn't mean to go all political here, but it really does irritate the crap out of me, and that's why I do understand, because how we got into this was with the girl that turned her back to the flag, and I got into an argument with a friend of mine at the pub. Well, a year ago she was holding the flag. I go, yeah, Neil, people could change their minds. It could have been about George Floyd for all we know. I mean, who knows what caused?
Yeah, a lot changed in a year. And also, my whole thing is, I'm big on keep that same energy. If you're so upset about the flag, be upset on January 6th at all the people who use the flag to beat the hell out of the police. And use the flag to brutalize, and use the flag to try to subvert democracy. So if it's about the flag, let's make it consistently about the flag.
Thank you. That is true. And how sick that not only are they abusing the American flag, they're wielding the Confederate flag, which is the ultimate flag of racism. You know what I mean? See, that's the thing, Alycia. White supremacy is alive and well in this country. And we saw that on January 6th.
Yeah.
And you didn't see any black people storming the Capitol, did you?
No, I mean, it might have been one or two, and if you talk to them, they sound like they had saucers and like they were seeing UFOs and had mental illness. So it wasn't anybody with any real intelligence. But the white supremacy is so powerful that non-white people can be white supremacists.
I guess so. It's just, I mean, the whole thing is sick to me. I've always, grown up. I had parents that were very liberal, if you will, and and I've always been a liberal, and I've always felt that everybody is equal. But there are people where I grew up. There was a black family that moved in, the Miwas, and I'll never forget. They ran this family out of town by throwing bottles at his house and everything else.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in the 1980s. I don't know. Yeah. It just seems like I don't get the anger towards like any other race, color. I don't understand it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean,
but a lot of it is taught though. There's a doctor on YouTube, Dr. Joy. I think her name was like Dr. Joy. Like her last name was like Deguar or something, and she has this. It's like an hour-long seminar. It might even be an hour and a half on race, and it was just so poignant because she used a PowerPoint, and she was just showing old videos of how white families during lynchings, they would have their kids with them under the tree where the black guy was lynched. So you can see the photos, and you can see the family, you see little kids, and they're looking up, and it's a couple, lynched black guy or a few lynched black guys. And her point was, what must they have told these little kids to make this acceptable? What did you tell your kids? They're at a lynching. These black folks are dead and hanging from a tree. What did you tell these people? What did you tell these small children was the reason that made this okay? Yeah. And that's why it continues to be perpetrated, because the adults are telling something to these children, and the children are being indoctrinated into this. I feel like teaching children to be racist is child abuse. It should be child abuse on the same level as beating them. It should be on the same level as not feeding them. It should be on the same level as not sending them to school. Truancy. Teaching them to hate should be considered child abuse, and there should be consequences for that.
Yeah. And it is sick. I never even thought about that they actually brought kids to these lynchings. I wasn't even aware of that.
Yeah. And these kids grew up to become politicians, cops, bosses. What do you think they did to the black people underneath them when they had the power?
Jeez. It's just, but it's just like, Donald Trump goes out and says Kung flu and it's the China virus, China. And anti-Asian violence goes up in America at alarming levels.
Yeah, it's going to go up.
But that's like I don't know. Look, I hate to say this, but there's a lot of stupid people in America. So, let's hate all Asians because a virus started in this country. Yeah. I mean, it makes no logical sense.
But you know what?
It makes them every step of their lives.
Right, but also, John, it really lets you know just how badly America has neglected its mentally ill population. Because if you look at a lot of insurances, they don't cover mental health. There's a lot of Americans that have no insurance at all. Either they're uninsured or underinsured, and people need their mental health taken care of. Naomi Osaka, she said as an athlete, she needs to take care of her mental health. And mental health is a real situation. If you can manipulate the mentally ill, and that's all Donald Trump does. He's a grifter. He gets all of their money. I don't understand why poor people are sending a billionaire their money.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I don't get it. Read a book. Like 14 of the 15 poorest states are Republican led, but they will tell these people the Democrats are the problem. The Democrats are the problem. Just read. The Republicans, they make sure that the rich stay rich. So if you make $100,000 a year or less and you voting Republican, or you're poor and you're sending money to Trump's campaign, I'll never understand it.
No. So I guess I didn't know, but I guess you are in agreement with me that Trump is the biggest disgrace of a human being, much less a president that we've ever had.
Yeah, but I've researched Donald Trump well before he started running. He really got on my radar with the Central Park 5. Yeah. What he did to those teenagers. It didn't even matter to him that the facts were incorrect. But the only good thing that came out of the Central Park 5 was they had to start using the words alleged on the news, because they were telling those stories like they were facts. Mm-hmm. And so everybody that heard the story believed that these teenagers had raped this woman. They were on the north end of the park. She was on the south end of the park. One little boy was in jail and was still a virgin because he was 14. And so it was like, it was so terrible. This man took out a full page ad to get those children executed. And he's been on my radar ever since.
Well, Donald Trump, I've had people on my show who have worked, at least one person, Noel Kessler, who worked with Trump on The Apprentice, said Trump would use the N-word all the time. In fact, In fact, Holly Robinson Pete was supposed to win. She is the husband of the quarterback Rodney. I mean, the wife of quarterback Rodney. Yeah. She was supposed to win, and Donald Trump walked in the elevator with some of the producers and said, I guess they want the N-word to win. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
His father was at a KKK rally, okay?
Yeah.
And that's Donald Trump. So he gave it to Brett Michaels they had to change all the editing to make it look like Bret Michaels deserved to win. Why?
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump doesn't like black people.
Yeah, and Donald Trump Jr., a friend of mine worked on The Celebrity Apprentice. He was a cameraman, DP, named Chris. He worked on The Celebrity Apprentice. Chris said he almost beat the hell out of Donald Trump Jr. because he was getting his shot set up and he was lighting, and Donald Trump Jr. is going to come over and try to tell him about his lighting. And Ivanka was there, and Chris was like, Chris went to West Point. He was sort of hot-headed. He passed away last year. Chris was sort of hot-headed, and he didn't take any crap. So he's like, how is this clown going to tell me about my lighting? And I've been doing this 20 years. He said that he was trying to be cool. And, he said to him, he said, I got this. I know what I'm doing. And that Donald Trump Jr. said to him, allegedly, things never go right when N-words are involved. So Chris got up, slammed his stuff down, and went at Donald Trump Jr. And Ivanka hollered, "No, Chris!" And Chris had his fist like in midair until Ivanka started screaming. And he ended up losing his job because he was getting ready to pulverize Donald Trump Jr. So the father and the son, they're just alike. But the problem for America is because of the way he thinks, a lot of people will vote for him for that reason. There's a lot of people who won't vote for him because he's a racist, sexist, xenophobic, homophobic, every fucking thing of phobic-ism is Donald Trump. But there's still going to be a group that want him to win for those reasons.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
Well, it's like what I tweeted out. I said the reason why Trump supporters love him is because he represents what they represent: hate, bigotry, and racism. Yeah. The people that love him also are white supremacists. I mean, they don't like people of color. I mean, it's as easy as that.
But there's one group who should legitimately vote for him. That one group is the 1%. If you're part of the 1%, he saves you all your money because he only pays $750 in taxes. If you are a 1%er and you said you voted for him, I understand. But the other 99%, I don't get it.
I don't either. Nor do I get African Americans that vote for Donald Trump. I don't even. I can't understand.
Black white supremacists.
Have you ever met one of these people?
I have not met one of them, but I have gone back and forth on social media with them.
Speaking of social media, what are you on? You on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I have a YouTube channel under my name.
It's just like me. It's so funny that we got to all do this shit. Even though it's so annoying a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's like like you got to deal with the trolls and the.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get that. I have a huge stable of trolls that change their names on a regular basis so they can get one more dig at me. But they exhaust so much energy and time that I go, I don't know. Shouldn't you be focusing on an A-list celebrity? I mean, I'm barely J-list at this point, I mean, if your whole life is focused on me, you got problems, bro.
Yeah, and I've talked about a lot of people, but the only time I've had vicious trolls was the time I released that video after Donald Trump said Aretha Franklin used to work for him. I cussed Donald Trump's ass out in this video about how Aretha Franklin did never work for you. She was an independent contractor. She didn't get no benefits from your company. It was a one-off. You weren't even booking the damn club. So I did this whole video complaining about him saying that about Aretha Franklin. She had only been dead like 3 hours when he tried to. So the Trump trolls came. I was getting death threats and everything. And I would say back to the Trump trolls, if you were really planning on killing me, I don't think you give me any forewarning.
Exactly.
I'm like, death threats are so. I laugh at death threats. I'm like, they are so damn idle.
They're all armchair bullies. I mean, they're all on the couch in their mom's basement, trying to be tough guys. I don't
Yeah.
fear any of them.
Yeah. I'm like, you gonna kill me over Donald Trump lying about Aretha Franklin? You really have too much free time.
What did he say about Aretha Franklin that he worked?
He said he was like, yes, Aretha. I was just told that Aretha Franklin died. She used to work for me. Everything has to revert back to him, even the lady's death.
Yeah.
And so I was like, she didn't work for you. She was an independent contractor. She did a show at a Trump property.
Oh.
Yeah, and he acts like he's paying into her 401k. So I was like, oh.
It's a travesty.
But let me say, John, my health has gotten a lot better since he lost. My blood pressure is down. I'm not anxious. Like, I feel so good every morning that he's not my president.
I know. I do too, but unfortunately, Alycia, which is why I still do my political show, that I don't know if I have plenty of congressmen and women on. I've made the news several times with my shows, including, I don't know if you know that I pranked the president 2 years ago.
Yes, I did. I saw that. I like that. Yeah, that was good. That was classic.
But I like even today, Trump's out of office. Why do you continue? Why do I continue? Because he hasn't been held accountable yet for any of his crimes. And Trumpism is still alive in the GQP. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, all trying to be the next Trump.
And he's trying to make a comeback.
He'll be lucky to be alive by 2024. That dude is as unhealthy. Did you see him wear his pants backwards because he shit his diaper? That guy is the least healthy. I doubt he'll. And he's bragging about passing a cognitive test. That's like bragging about passing an eye test at the DMV. Hey, high five.
I'm just surprised he took his own cognitive test, because the niece Mary blew up the fact that he didn't take his own SATs.
Yeah. No, he's not. Honestly, he's an idiot, and so is his kids.
Yeah.
Ivanka's the smartest one in the lot, but that's why she's distancing herself from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is indicative of what's going on. Like, they know the shit's coming. And Michael Cohen, his former lawyer fixer, said that the Trump kids will come out against him if need be. So
Yeah. Everybody knows he didn't raise those kids. The mothers were stuck with those kids. He had 3 different women with having his kids. The first wife, Ivana, said he used to keep all kinds of Hitler books on his nightstand. Yep. She said he worshiped Hitler. Yeah. And if you look at what he's doing, it's all very Hitler-esque. That walking over to the church with the Bible upside down, holding it up. Everything he did was just mocking Hitler. It's like how Kobe Bryant did everything Jordan did. Yeah. It's like this is him. He's trying to be Hitler.
Oh yeah, no, totally. But you can understand. He's just as sick as Hitler. See, I say if there were 2 antichrists, it would be Hitler and Trump. Mm-hmm. It's just so funny because evangelicals love Trump, and it makes no fucking sense. Like, he's he's the opposite of Jesus Christ, Yeah.
If you tell me you love Trump, don't tell me you're religious, because I'm going to put you in the atheist category.
Yeah. So, are you dating?
Yeah, I am. It's hard, but I am. It's hard to date because you can't really date in a COVID, because unless the 2 of y'all going to sit together all day, you're not running in and out of my house killing me. So it's a lot of phone Zoom dating.
And where are you meeting everybody?
Right now online, I use the free sites because I'm cheap. So I'm on Plenty of Fish.
Oh, I'm on Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble.
How did our grandparents meet without all this technology?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's so easy though. You see the picture, yeah, I like that. The only hard part is actually having to go on the date, because every date's like an interview session. Like you're interviewing for a job. And then you're stuck there. It's what do
Yeah.
you do? It's like, oh my god, I want to puke talking about my life over and over again.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
almost
but
like,
now I see why. But don't we see why older couples' marriages lasted so long? Because the woman, if she wanted to cheat with your grandfather, she had to call the house.
it's crazy, ain't it? Well, our hour is up. Tell everybody where you're gonna be. Plug anything you want.
Okay, I'm going to be at the Comedy Store at 8 o'clock tonight in the main room. So if you're anywhere near LA, stop by, and if not, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, Alycia Cooper.
And what kind of videos do you do on there?
It could be anything. Like I might put a video up about a current event and my feeling on it, or it'll be part of my stand up. And then I've also been writing and directing my short films, so I'll put the trailers up to the films. So it's a hodgepodge of stuff on there. It's something for
Nice,
everybody.
nice, sweetie. Let's get together and have a beer one of these days. What do you say?
Absolutely. Let's meet at the BJ's in Woodland Hills.
All right, sweetie. I'll see you, baby. Thanks for doing the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, the great and funny Alycia Cooper. And that was the beer on the balcony today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's one of the first beer on the balconies that we actually got political. Wasn't my plan, but I go with the flow. And I might even pull that clip of her talking about Donnie Dickhead Jr. using the N-word and posting it on Twitter. So I have two clips to post on Twitter. I have one from Army Major State Senator Richard Ojeda, and then that one. So I will be working on that. That'll probably be up tomorrow someday. Ziggy, the Bud Light is because I forgot to put the Coors Light in the fridge, and I still had the Bud Light in the fridge. All right. I will see you all on Tuesday at noon PST. I hope you all have a great 4th of July weekend, and stay safe, stay healthy. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Stuttering John saying, come on, let's all do it together. Gagee.